Hey guys, and welcome to Film Artsy. And while Ant-Man was an integral character in Avengers Endgame and has been kind of around the MCU for quite some time now, it's looking like the future of this character might be changing pathways from what we originally expected or what we were originally used to from the Marvel Cinematic Universe. And we have some speculation and some rumors floating around that we wanted to talk about in this video. So that being said, let's go ahead and jump into this discussion on the future of Ant-Man in the Marvel Cinematic Universe.
Agent Romanoff, you miss me?
Oh yeah, Charles, we got ourselves an X-Men fan.
Captain.
Your Highness.
Captain, big fan, Spider-Man. Hey everyone.
So originally, when the first Ant-Man movie came out and the actors were doing their press tour, a lot of them kind of accidentally let it slip that they were signed on for 3 Ant-Man movies that were going to be kind of standalone movies. Now we saw Ant-Man release, we saw Ant-Man and the Wasp as kind of the sequel movie, and also Ant-Man and the Wasp kind of served as like a reboot of Ant-Man, while it definitely was a sequel first. And while this was the case for the movies that came out, if you look at the movie releases and you look at the box office performance, while the Ant-Man and the Wasp movie did perform well and it made back its money and it made a pretty big profit, the money made from Ant-Man and the Wasp isn't anywhere near any of the other MCU movies that have released that have kind of just blown box office records completely out of the water. If you look at the success that the new Spider-Man movie had, or you look at the success that even Captain Marvel had, a brand new IP that had really nothing big promoting it, Ant-Man and the Wasp numbers, while still good, definitely didn't explode and become record-breaking movies. And while we really enjoyed these movies and we think that they are great in their own right, it's looking like moving forward, since Ant-Man and Ant-Man and the Wasp didn't necessarily become these groundbreaking movies that maybe Marvel had initially intended them to be, they might be trying to change up the method as to how they utilize these characters in the future. Now, one big thing that has been suggested is that Ant-Man 3 will be cancelled. We will not see Ant-Man 3, and this started to become speculated when Marvel did the Phase 4 and referenced even Phase 5 moving forward, and didn't have any mention of Ant-Man or the Wasp as characters in any upcoming movies. We did expect to see an Ant-Man 3 announcement for Phase 4, and while we did not see any Phase 4 announcements for Ant-Man, we even heard things from Phase 5 that were announced, like a new Black Panther movie and a few other characters that would be coming back later, yet nothing on Ant-Man once again. So now it looks like speculation and rumors are talking about shifting Ant-Man and the Wasp from their main film roles to more a smaller screen experience where they will have their own show on Disney+. Now, a lot of these actors are signed on to do one more movie, but this might serve as kind of an in-between contract, and it looks like it's possible we will see an Ant-Man Disney Plus show, which would still star Paul Rudd. Allegedly, Evangeline Lilly would also return, and we would see Michael Pena return as well. Now, this is really interesting because this would be the only case, or the first case, of a character from the Marvel Cinematic Universe who has had dedicated movies being reduced to a Disney Plus show, where we see a new Thor movie coming out, a new Black Widow movie coming out. We're kind of seeing Ant-Man get the same Hawkeye treatment, even though Ant-Man's had standalone movies before. Now, is this a bad thing? It's not necessarily a bad thing. Obviously, any actor who goes from appearing in movies to doing TV shows, it's not necessarily the most rewarding experience across the board, but you also have to understand that Disney is investing a ton of money into trying to grow their presence on Disney Plus and trying to make movie level quality on their streaming service. So it might have been an option to do several Ant-Man movies and kind of cram them into a series and put them on Disney Plus in a way that a lot of fans can still appreciate the series. It gives more content and the actors are probably still going to get a really good paycheck, a very similar paycheck, if not a bigger paycheck for doing more work, while still being integral characters in the Marvel Cinematic Universe and having appearances down the road. So while at first this announcement really looked like a bad thing for the Marvel Cinematic Universe, the more you look into it and the more that this speculative announcement, of course this is not confirmed yet, is starting to shape up to maybe be a great thing for all the actors involved and the team that works on Ant-Man and the Wasp. We can really look at the fact that Paul Rudd has been one of the writers for Ant-Man and the Wasp altogether, so he was already involved in the production side of that movie, and it's likely that if he signs on for Disney Plus, he's also going to have some creative hand in where this series goes. And this might give more opportunity for this character to gain popularity. A lot of people kind of skipped out on watching the first Ant-Man movie, and a lot did go see Ant-Man and the Wasp, but still some people skipped out on it. But now that Ant-Man has this popularity from his major role in Avengers Endgame, it's very likely that they're going to try to make this one of the flagship shows on Disney Plus, because at the very least, while we see new shows like Winter Soldier and the Falcon and WandaVision, Ant-Man is kind of a character that you know what to expect as you go into it, where these other shows are kind of new ideas and they're new concepts, and we don't really know how they're going to be executed on film. But since we've already seen Ant-Man star in a movie and we know what his cast is like and what his supporting characters are like, we can kind of predict what a TV series would be like, even if it was just 8 to 10 episodes. And it could be really cool to see. We really like the idea that Ant-Man has had across both of his movies and even in Avengers Endgame to an extent of pulling off these crazy heists, and it would be really cool to see that more executed in a long form rather than something kind of rushed to fit a 2-hour window. And if this is something that Paul Rudd agreed to, or maybe he pitched the idea, this might be something where the writing team can come up with more elaborate stories to benefit this character and really grow the possibilities of what they want to do moving forward. We also have other speculation, as recently we've been talking about the possibility of a lot of these characters having the kind of superhero mantle passed on to a younger generation, and we've seen the formation of even a young Avengers team kind of being in the background, something that's been talked about a little bit. We see that because we are speculating that Kate Bishop will be appearing in the Hawkeye TV show, and if that's the case, we wouldn't be too surprised if Cassie Lang, who is Scott Lang's daughter, would one day take on the moniker of Ant-Man, and maybe this is an easy way to transition this character into being more at the forefront and having this kind of passing of a torch without necessarily trying to force it to happen within one movie. Regardless, the future of the Marvel Cinematic Universe definitely seems very different now than where it once was. The Marvel Cinematic Universe phases 1 through 3 were pretty straightforward, very predictable, just because they were releasing movies, introducing characters, and then incorporating the characters together. But now with the events of Avengers Endgame, everything seems different moving forward, as we're going to start seeing slower progressions with TV shows like Moon Knight, and now possibly Ant-Man in a TV format, with these characters having longer amounts of time to be developed before appearing in the big screen, where we will still see some major characters and bigger stories told on the big screen that might relate to more casual audiences. I think Marvel knows that they have a very dedicated audience that will subscribe and will start watching things from home and still stay up to date with the story if it's all in one place. One of the big problems the MCU was faced with when they had all the TV shows like Agents of S.H.I.E.L.D. and even shows like the Netflix series where we had the Defenders and all the characters in that, is that it was a bunch of different platforms, and while the stories kind of had some similarities and some interconnectedness, we never saw it on the big screen. And it looks like Disney Plus will be this form that directly connects these TV shows to the movies in one place where everyone can go and watch. So ultimately, we wanted to turn this around to you guys. What do you guys think of Ant-Man 3 possibly being canceled? There's no real confirmation on this. This is all speculative, but we wanted to turn around and see what you guys think. Do you think that this series or these characters can exist in a better form on Disney Plus rather than just getting a 2-hour movie once every couple of years? Or do you think that Ant-Man and the Wasp still can hold their own enough and they deserve to have another big screen movie moving forward? Let us know what you guys think in the comments down below. Be sure to subscribe with notifications on for more videos like this, and we'll see you all next time with a brand new video. Bye guys.
I'm about to.
Hi, everybody.
Hey, everybody. How you doing?
Hi.
See you guys.
Know anybody?